Hey everybody, Adam from Atlas Gunworks. Have you ever had this happen? Won't lock back, barely fits in the gun, won't come out of the gun. We've had it happen a lot over the last 10 years, and we were hoping that somebody would come out with a mag and solve all of our problems, and then we realized that the only way to do it right is to do it ourselves. So we've spent the last 24 months developing a 9mm specific mag that solves all the double stack modular gripped guns issues. Perfect mags, feed perfect. I'm going to cover some of the the basics here, but basically we really want the mags to go in the gun, and we really want them to come out. Go in and come out. That seems to be something that everybody wants. And then we want all of them to lock back. And so there's a couple of things we had to do that. One was create a process where we could make a repeatable mag tube that stayed in spec. So we've all seen the manufacturers that got one tube that works great and one tube that doesn't. And that's all about how much energy and time you spend on your process. So we've got a really nice process where we make a one-piece tube, so it's a sheet folded once, or stamped once and folded over, and then robot welded in the back. Witness holes, of course. The dimensions externally are what are going to make it fit in and out of the gun properly, and so we spent a lot of time making sure those are really dialed in and they'll work in our guns and anyone else who's got a modern double stack design on the modular grip system. And then you want them to feed right, and to get them to feed right we need the tube dimensions, both the rails here and the transition from double and single stack, to be proper. Spent a tremendous amount of time dialing that in. And then everybody now wants lockback. And the reason these mags didn't have lockback for the longest time was that they didn't work reliably. It was nearly impossible to make them lock back. So because the marketplace is demanding that, and this gun's becoming more common, and more common in the general, both law enforcement, recreational, tactical shooters, people who are depending on the guns, we really need the mags to work. So to do the lockback, we took a popular lockback follower design, improved it, changed the material to a better material. So we had to also pair that with a better magazine. So we've got an 18% magazine spring that's out now. That combination really gives you great lockback and for a long period of time with the springs. So there's a lot more details about the magazines in our magazine bench video. I'm going to go about the ins and outs, but what you most care about probably is the tube design. So we'll start with that. So lots of research again, but one-piece tubes, so made up from a flat sheet of stamping, folded over, and then seamlessly welded by a robot is the modern method for doing this. So all those ones that have a two-piece weld, that's a pretty archaic way to do it. It's the way we would have done it 30 or 40 years ago. It does not work well. The tolerance stacking between the two different tubes and the chance that your weld bleeds through poorly on both sides instead of one side is much less desirable. So only welded in the back, it's welded by a robot. There's actually a really seamless way that we have that done, and the tubes are actually amazing, and doesn't take a lot of handwork to clean that out. And so that was a key component for us. The second key component on building a perfect double stack tube is to nail the dimensions based on the caliber. And so if you guys remember that the early guns were 45 ACP and some 38 Super, but the mag tube design was really that retrofitted to other calibers. And so we wanted to start fresh and really just build this thing from the 9mm perspective. So mags built around 9mm, really critical to have this inside dimension carry the bullets in the right stacking configuration. And you see a lot of folks try to jam one or two extra rounds in there by having extra width here, and that leads to the bullets getting parallel and not feeding well, and not the magazine spring not being able to overcome those. So we were very careful to keep the dimensions proper here. And then where you've seen some of the other manufacturers fail is this dimension here where it goes from double to single stack. And again, it matters how the bullets start to stack up in that line, but we were really particular here about having this dimension be correct. And so what you end up with is a one-piece tube that's dimensionally correct. We partnered with a really amazing stamping company, and these tubes are second to none in variance. So they have almost no variance to them. There's no tuning required. We don't even tune them here. We just put them together. They're ready to go out of the box. So no hammering on them, no squeezing, no vise, no feed lip alterations. The mags are just ready to go. And so there's a bunch of different ways to configure these mags, but we designed them to work with 4mm base pads no matter what size mag you've got. So there's some other sizes coming. We've got a 170 on its way for end of summer 21, a 120 for the end of the year, both in 9mm, 140 40 cal, so probably end of summer, early fall as well. Probably early fall. They're a little behind the 170s. But all will work with a 4mm base pad. Here's your standard slide-on base pad with the pins. They're all blank marks, so you can put your name on them or laser engrave them at your favorite laser engraver. Black, blue, red, gray, but all standard, so we don't have to have different base pads. If you've got older STI tubes and you have a base pad like this, a 4mm style base pad and a Graham's follower, or any other followers that work well, just buy the tubes and switch your guts and your base pads. It's all the same, nothing's proprietary. We're trying to keep things as simple and easy as possible. So a couple different configurations for followers. And followers play a huge role in this and how well your gun's gonna perform, both in your bullet stack as well as so your bullet stack controls your feeding, and then lockback's a key thing. So these guns didn't really lock back a bunch of years ago. I'll do another video talking about the history of the guns and the mags and the problems we've all had with the mags over the years. But to solve that, and some other folks were doing pioneering with these wider flared out followers on the base here. And what that does is keeps them from rocking as they come up to the top. And that's helped a whole bunch. So we took that design and took it a little bit further and added a better material. So these are made from a much higher quality material than most followers. Longer life, more lubricity as they move through the gun. And so the followers work really well. This is what we call the duty follower. This is going to give you the most reliable feed and the most reliable lockback. And those are paired with, in the 140s, our 18% spring, which is brand new as well. Whole bunch of research and development to get that spring to both maintain an even push throughout the mag and last longer than the other springs previously set up for lockback followers. So perfect pairing here, lots of push, works great. You're going to get consistent lockback with any gun that has the slide stop in the proper position. And we've tried them in a whole bunch of different guns. They've worked in everything today. So maybe a little bit of lockback, slide lock, lockback tuning there, but most likely they're just drop and go. Nothing to worry. So the mags generically always come with this setup. If it's in the 126 mag, we run a 15-pound spring. They stack a little better in the shorter mag, and you quite don't need as much oomph because we've got a shorter distance we're running here. So I like the 15s there, but you could cross between the two in either mag and they'd still work fine. But ideally an 18 in a 140, 15 in a 126. So we know guys want more capacity, and I'll talk about the capacity of these two first. In the all witness marked in the back, of course, on our tubes, the numbers are underneath. So you got a 15 hole here and then a hole in the 126 that's going to show a full primer at 19 and the top of the 18th round at 18. And on this mag, you're going to get 20, full in the 20 hole, and then you're going to see at 22 just the rim here, and then a full primer at 23. So a couple different, really 3 different levels of capacity are available on these. So you've got the duty followers, which we'll call the base level. That's going to be 21 in a 120, or a 140, excuse me, and it's going to be in a 126. It's going to be 18. And then we're working on, this is actually a prototype, they're not in production quite yet, but they should be in production in the next 2 months. So we're beginning of May, sometime in August, coming into September, we'll have what we call the +1 follower. So very similar design to this, but shorter. It's going to be a tad less optimal for lockback. Feeding wise should be just as reliable and should be 99% reliable with lockback, but anytime we take away those bottom flanges and let this follower float just a little bit, we're going to potentially lose some lockback capabilities. We're recommending all the duty guys only run the duty follower, and the +1 follower is going to be more for competition folks. It will work in either one with either spring setup, same base. We're in development of our own race follower, a really thin race follower. That won't be out until the end of the year. That follower, we're going to try to make work with these two springs, but if it doesn't, you'll see us come out with a new spring. In the meantime, all those guys for the years have trusted Graham's, you can take your Graham's FKS 11 kits, which is this, your regular Graham's S2 follower, and his spring. Of course, that's a proprietary system that works together. And if you put that spring, so each of these with the lockback +1, or lockback follower here is 21, with the +1 goes to 22. And this one goes from 18 to 19 with the +1. And then if you run the race followers, the super thin race follower, Graham's or any other brand, Graham's, Terran, whatever you guys like, you're going to get an extra round on top of the +1. So take this mag to 23, and we're going to take this mag to 20. Now, keep in mind, if you run Graham's or any of the other guys who have the little flange here for lockback, in these mags, it's in the wrong place. It'll lock back with one round on it. So the race guys, what we've done for the last 30 years is trim all these off. So you want to trim your follower if you're going to run those and try to do maximum capacity. In that case, you'll lose your lockback. Make sure you trim them if you do trim them far enough, almost back to the spring is what I do, to make sure that this clears your slide stop and doesn't get hung up on the way out. They often work fine until they're on their way out. But what we've designed is a super positive feeding, lots of tip pressure magazine that allows you to be very modular. So duty guys run the duty followers, run them at 21. Competition guys run them at 23 with a 4mm base pad. If you really want to get 24, just jump the 7mm base pad on there. We'll have those available here at the end of the summer as well, and that'll get you one more round. And then again, complete. If you want to just take your guts from another one and we'll sell just the tubes, you're welcome to do that, and that will solve a lot of problems for folks. So always looking for better solutions, and we worked really hard for the last 24 months to do this mag. The coolest part about Atlas, if you don't own an Atlas gun or any Atlas products, is we stand behind the products 100%. So phone numbers on the website, we're super available on email. We actually have a service tech, Randy, who's pretty much spends 30 hours a week just dealing with your service calls. So like a Maytag man, sometimes he's very bored. Feel free to reach out to Randy if you need him. But if there's a problem with the mags, we stand by him 100%. I know that's been a problem for a lot of folks over the years, and it's been a problem for us internally as well. We're happy to be here and solve that problem for folks. Hey shooters, if you want these magazines, the 126 and 149mm, they are on the Atlas website today. 170s and 120s are coming soon, probably end of summer 2021, and the 140s are coming for fall 2021. Hope to see you guys on the range soon.
Oh